I just went online one day. Don't know where I got the term from, but I looked up crossdresser. And I just saw like a lot of stories and images and videos of people. I would say, especially on TikTok, there's a lot of gender diverse people that I follow on there, and there's like a lot of transgender individuals I watch, a lot of drag queens that I follow.
I only started to have social media when I was in like second or third year in high school. My mom didn't want me to be around the toxicity. I mostly started to be comfortable with following the people. I think I started to garner a lot of those platforms, I think, probably around COVID time and everything. Like back then I loved like Shane Dawson, who, you know, had this whole like journey of becoming, of like being comfortable in their sexuality as like
Before that, when you don't have access to any media representation, you feel like, oh, I'm just all by myself, like I'm probably the only crazy person in this world, and I didn't know the words for like gay or queer or LGBT, like even like these simple terms, I didn't know them. Once I got access to the internet, I was like, I know what's going on. And it's kind of okay. Yeah, and it was just much easier for me to accept myself.
Through social media. That's usually how I like found out about people coming out. Like they'd post an Instagram story or like a Snap story. It didn't really impact me, but I saw how it impacted others.
One of the challenges is just the anxiety around losing my family because of it. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of them have decided to have disowned me for it. I wouldn't be surprised. And I think that stems from like the amount of judgment and closed-mindedness I heard from my family throughout my life.
I lived back in England for about 7 years of my life, from 2004 to 2011. And for what I remember back then, I actually went to like a church school of sorts when I was a kid, and I remember they were very conservative. But I feel like if I came out as anything like but like a cisgender female, I would be like completely judged, I feel like, you know?
Well, originally I'm from a pretty small town in Belarus. I grew up in the conservative family, a very conservative family that kind of tried to use this pattern of like isolating the kids so they don't know like what is going on in the outside world, so they don't really get into trouble. In the Belarusian households, like if you are a son, you're kind of really expected to be like very tough and to be like the family protector and stuff like that.
My mom was the last person to come out too when I changed my name, because she really liked my dead name. And she actually got a tattoo of my dead name before I changed it. And so I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry, I don't use that name anymore. And so it's kind of like, I did all this for you and now you're changing it, what's wrong with you, kind of. But those were the undertones of it.
Yeah, so the first friend that had supported me, her name was Savannah, and like she was the one who first got me clothes, first got me some shoes.
When I actually went into my Dungeons and Dragons group and everything, and actually, Little Point then and everything, they actually helped me come out as gay and everything, because it made me feel so comfortable. And so to be around such a good community of people here at Berea, it made me feel so comfortable to be who I am and go through this change in my sexuality and everything. Well, not change, but like just, I guess like evolution, you know? It's like actually acknowledging this part of myself that I felt for a very long time.
I remember crazy times when, for example, I would go with my female friends and we would do makeup. They would teach me how to do makeup and I would just really enjoy it, but then I would have to wash it off before I come back home, or sometimes even before I go out on the streets, because it was very dangerous in that area. They are the first ones to whom I came out. Some of them, of course, were accepting. Some of them would be like homophobic or just in general very like skeptical about stuff, and like we would stop being friends.
Honestly, a lot of my friend group in high school was queer, So when I came out to them, they're like, "Oh, Slay, I'm so glad you figured out, who you are." And, they were super accepting about it.
When I first started to openly present myself as Cordelia, for the most part, it was like a weight off my shoulders. It was like, hey, I get to be me. And for the first time in a long time, I actually felt happy. I've been able to just interact with people with a smile on my face, and I essentially stopped hiding in my room.
Some days I do feel like one more than the other and everything. Like by like the types of clothes I wear, sometimes my emotions sometimes goes into that as well. I do feel like I will always probably be a cisgender female, but I do always have those feelings about being like non-binary and not just identifying with one thing and just being very fluid with it, just like be able to be free to explore. At least in my experience, I gotten like a lot of unwanted attention, mostly at like stores, and it's always by the way I dress. Some days when I dress a certain way that is a bit more like feminine and everything, I seem to get a lot more like looks and stares and catcalls and everything, and it just makes me really uncomfortable. But it doesn't make me like question or feel in any less of a woman, but it still makes me very uncomfortable.
This is the picture when I'm in New York City, and I feel like as a gay person, I for some reason have a huge connection to New York City. I can enact and show all of my parts of my identity. And I feel like when I'm more in rural areas, of course I code switch, that's what I would say. I still have my family, I still have all those people who might be looking at me and kind of judging and giving their feedback even if it's not requested. And there were times when I blocked my parents for more than a month, and it was very hard.
When I think of my own gender identity and like my identity as a whole, nothing really prevalent comes to mind. So I've kind of taken the middle road with a lot of stuff. I identify as non-binary, even though I look really feminine. I've been mispronounced, but that's okay. I look feminine. I kind of understand where they're coming from.
There is a lot of resources online, whether that be on TikTok or YouTube or a quick Google search. There's this website called Trevor Project that has really good information.
Find someone or community that you trust the most, be able to open up and ask questions about it. Like do your own research and see, if this fits with you. And honestly, if it fits, and if you feel like your gut's telling you yes, go for it.
I would say take your time and definitely analyze your surroundings, because I wouldn't recommend to take any quick and rough decisions.
It's okay to not know, and it's okay to take your time in figuring it out.
Honestly, just listen to yourself and what it's saying to you. Don't try to repress it and push it back.
I would say that just try to be safe, try to play it safe, try to find safe spaces.
And I am going to steal the words of my BME professor, EJ. If no one else has told you today, you matter.